Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
And I'm Ryan.
And this week we got an update on the Montana court case that has been going on. Also, we have another story about the PID in Mexico. This is kind of a juicy little story. Plus, we have another story out of Australia that's just going to piss you off. And another one that's satire. So we should have some fun with that, and we'll talk about that as well. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Oh no, they're starting trouble already. First thing, these dang governing body people. God, they want to start trouble.
It's always something with these folks.
I know they're always up to something, whether they're lying or making up crap or just being stupid. Like, come on, guys, get with the program.
Everything's a problem with these folks.
It is. It is.
It's kind of annoying.
Just go back to your bobbleheads. Go
to your hole.
Now.
Go to your hole.
There we go. These guys. So, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Good to see you.
Hope everybody's had a good week. I know it's been a busy week for me, as always, but that's life. So, where shall we start this morning, Ryan?
I don't know. We have a lot. So I'm not really sure. What's the audience up for? What does the audience need to wake them up and get their days started? What do we got to do here?
You want to start with the satire?
Sure. Yeah. Let's have a little laugh. A little
laugh. Okay. So let me. So there's this website. It's called the Babylon Bee. And we had a vote for satire, so I'm going to go with that. So this is, I looked it up. When I first saw it, I was like, no way, this can't be true. I was hoping it was true because it says, here's the headline: several injured in brawl when Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses arrive on porch at same time. And they got like a picture. They got a place that happened in New Jersey. And they said that, according to sources, several were injured in a recent brawl when a pair of Mormons found themselves confronting two rival JWs on the front porch of an unsuspecting citizen. And footage from the doorbell shows that the encounter started innocuously enough, but quickly turned nasty as representatives from both groups tried to ring the bell at the same time. And so it goes on, and like I really wanted this to be true. I really did. And so I looked up the website and saw it was a satire website, but this is just hilarious. So
it would have been funny if it was true for certain.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would love to see a couple of JWs and Mormons go at it on somebody's front porch. That'd be great.
Definitely enjoy that.
But so like, I know we were talking about before the show. I don't know if anybody else here has seen on my other channel. I did a comedy skit talk, and I called it "You're Not Doing Enough," and it was a satire talk about basically impersonating a governing body member, telling how everybody's not doing enough, and I just go into crazy rants about it. And it's funny because when I saw that article, I thought about that because I had another skit that I thought about for doing, but it's going to take some time and, coordination to do it, about Mormons and JWs working the same street, and they both start on opposite ends and they meet in the middle at the last house, and kind of the same situation where they're kind of nudging each other to push the doorbell at the same time. And then person opens the door and they start going off on their, presentations, and person behind the door is like, wait, no, 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 hang on, stop, both of you, because they're trying to talk over each other. And so they stop and she goes, okay, one at a time. And she points to the one, they go through their skit, and then the other, and they go through their skit. And then at the very end of this whole skit, I wanted to have like a Scientologist walk up into the yard and just be like, say something stupid and short after these JW and Mormons have done this whole elaborate presentation. And then the person at the door pushes the JW and Mormon out of the way and goes and joins the Scientologist.
Noise.
So that was kind of a skit that I had in mind, but this article reminded me of that. It would just be hilarious if something like that actually did happen, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not true. So
It would be, though. It would be.
But yet another lesson, though, like what we were talking about last week, is make sure that what you're presenting, if it's going to be real legit news, make sure it is true. And if it's going to be satire, make sure that at least the audience knows. And with this, at least the audience knows it's satire. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with like some of the Onion's little news articles that they have, just as long as people aren't sharing them, which I have seen. Sometimes they're shared like as if they're true stories when they're intentionally meant to be facetious,
right. But sometimes it can be fun. Now, especially if you're making sure that your audience knows it's just satire, it's just a joke, then it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Then it's fun.
But if you're not doing that and you're passing it off as true, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So,
good morning, Martin.
So yeah. So I thought that was a fun little satire article to go through.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you.
Yes, welcome.
At least the cookies are real. Well, real what?
Are you sure, though? I mean, this is a satire article we're talking about.
Real sugar?
Okay, so let's go on to real business now.
Real business?
Real business.
Do we have to do real business?
I mean, we don't have to. We could just end it right here and cut it all off and nobody could do a thing about it.
Let's circumcise this episode.
All right, cut it out.
That reminds me of Full House.
That's what it was from. Yeah.
That what it's from. Yeah, he always.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, I got it. Do you want me to move on to one of my stories? I have a few. I'm not really sure which one to go, but we can pop over to one of mine if you want.
I say let's start with Montana.
Okay, well, what then let's go into that. Do you want me to pull it up? I wasn't sure if you have it.
Yeah, you go right ahead because I don't have it.
All right. Share this tab instead. Pop that up, take that off. There we go, y'all. Big news. Jehovah's Witness settle historic child abuse cases in federal court.
Plural.
This was such good news. Yeah, plural. More than one, friends. More than one. So if you have been asleep under a rock, which there's a possibility some people like to sleep under rocks, starting 5 years ago, this investigation started because victims of abuse came forward. They were abused years ago in the 70s and 80s, and they brought a case against the Jehovah's Witness organization. And in that case, Mr. Brumley was eventually fined for misleading the court and erased, or I don't know if he erased or threw out. I'm not sure exactly what they did, but they got rid of evidence as well as lied about the amount of control that the organization has on like the individual congregations and whatnot. Thankfully, it took a long time, but thankfully the people to the victims were able to prove their case because there's just an insurmountable amount of evidence against the organization on how their policies and procedures are meant to keep people silent. And I think there was an issue with one of the, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm just trying to think. I forget exactly what it was that Philip Brumley lied about. I know part of it was saying the amount of control that the organization had. They were
Well,
creating,
he got caught lying.
well, yeah, but they were also like, they create these different industries or whatever of the organization, corporations, in order to kind of hide and sleight of hand
Yes.
what they're actually doing. But the court caught on to it. The
Mhm.
court knew what was up, and they determined that they were indeed hiding, throwing away evidence, and they got caught red-handed. And thankfully, the judge decided that not only does Philip Brumley have to pay the fines and sanctions that were issued, because he filed an appeal, is what basically happened. He filed appeal for this fine that he was given, saying like, I wasn't, didn't he say he wasn't the lawyer? There's something I'm missing. He was trying to say I'm not actually a lawyer or something.
I think
Like,
he was trying to say he wasn't actually a lawyer for Watchtower,
yeah,
or one of
but he's acting as their
it,
counsel, which
but
it made no
he
sense.
is he is their lawyer in the sense for a specific corporation of Watchtower, whichever one that is. But he was probably saying for whichever one they were asking about specifically, he might not have been for that specific term of their corporation.
Exactly. It was
It's just
semantics.
it's just a way to weasel his way out to not be liable.
100%. So he tried it and he failed. And now the fine has to be paid, $154K. I don't know whether or not he will be the one responsible for paying it, or if the organization is going to slide him a check. I would love to know. I hope that we can find that information out. I don't know, but hopefully there's an insider who'd be able to tell us, like, where is this check coming from once the fine is paid.
And mind you, everybody, that these court cases settling also comes with non-disclosure agreements. So we're not going to know what the final amounts are that these
Yes, good
victims were
point.
paid. So the point, though, is that these victims, they decided to take the settlement because obviously it was enough for them to say, yes, we'll accept it. And they can finally move on with their lives.
Yeah.
I know we always want to see it hand it to Watchtower and have it, go as far as we can get it. But when you're a victim of these crimes, sometimes you just want to if you got something good on the table, you want to just go ahead and take it and move on with your life so you can heal and live and not have to think about this anymore. So kudos to those victims. You do you. I'm happy for you. I hope you found the justice you were looking for. I hope you find the peace that you also want to find in the future.
Agreed. They deserve it. I hope they get as much money as they can. I would love for them to bleed them dry. That's probably not going to happen. Whatever it is that they need, they should get.
Yes.
Yeah. So huge case, y'all, because this is going to have
Mhm.
wider implications for the likely cases that are going to continue to pop up now, because we know that they're just hiding a slew of these litigious cases being brought up against them. Too
And
bad, so sad. I don't feel bad for the organization. They've put
and if
themselves in this position.
exactly. And if any Jehovah Witness in the future is watching this, you can go look this up. This is not something on any apostate website. Look it up on the government of Montana's website. You'll find it. This is
Mhm.
public information. This is not made up. And because that's one thing the witnesses love to do, is try to call you out and say, oh, no, that's just all lies and misinformation. No, it's not. This is actually happening. This is what's going on. If it was any other church in the country that this was happening to, you'd be demonizing them. But when it's your own, you're going to try to call it false information. So check yourself before you make a fool of yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
I thought about that. I didn't want to say it that way, though.
But I'm so proud and that they were able, the victims were able to stick to it, because I'm sure sometimes it was disheartening. There was many times where the organization was refusing to hand over evidence, and the victims had to do so much digging in order to prove that the witnesses are not who they say they are. But they did it, and it might have taken 5 years, but they have set a precedent, I hope, for other victims of the Jehovah's Witness organization. And for that, I'm so thankful.
Yes, absolutely. And those precedents need to keep being set, and they need to be called out every time it happens until they change their policies and make it a better place for the victims.
Right. And that is going to take that is going to take people from inside dissenting, and that's really difficult. So that's why we have to keep the pressure on the outside, because dissenting while inside is, if anything, it's just going to create factions, like other like splinters of the group, and likely wouldn't change anything at the helm.
Well, we know that outside pressure is working. Just look at
It is.
Norway. So it is working. It might not be working at the timetable we want it to work on, but it's working.
It is. Yes, so thank you very much to the victims who are so brave in coming forward. Thank you to all the amazing former Jehovah's Witnesses who have kept their, finger on the pulse of these cases and cases like this, and letting us know when things break, when there's changes, when judgment has been issued. Y'all are so amazing. You're truly inspiring, and I thank you for your work.
Well said. All right. Now, with that being said, shall we move on to our next topic for the day?
Oh yeah, let's move it on.
All righty. So I got one for you coming out of Spain, and this is about the Public Information Department down in, I'm sorry, not Spain, Mexico. And showing what liars these people are. And so here's basically what they say. Oh my goodness. Sorry about the dogs, y'all.
They're excited.
They hear people, the stairs are right behind me, and they always bark at people coming down the stairs. So, and they kind of distract. Okay, here we go. So basically, the Public Information Department down there in Mexico is saying that they do not discriminate or judge homosexuals or the LGBT community. We all know how the witnesses view gay and the LGBT community.
Yeah. They don't see them as equals.
No, not at all. And if you remember one of their convention videos, they even had somebody, very snooty about it. And because they were out in public and there was some kind of pride event going on or whatever. And she was like, well, I don't believe in that. And, it's just very rude about how she went about telling them they don't believe in homosexuality, basically. So then they try to give this example from one of the people at the Public Information Department. Thank my wife for getting those dogs out.
Thanks, Crystal.
And he says, we have an experience of a person, a transsexual, who came to our community. He came dressed as a woman. He was never discriminated against. He always came and was respected. And over time, he abandoned those thoughts and returned to being heterosexual. And he told us that he became homosexual and transgender because he was raped at the age of 14.
Oh my God.
These people have no freaking clue.
Like, bro.
Like, seriously.
I mean, does trauma affect us? Absolutely. Trauma affects us. It doesn't turn you gay.
No.
It really does. It might make you think like, do I want to experience? Why is it so wrong if people want to experience something different? Maybe I want to do anal one day. Maybe I never do after I try. Like, it's none of your effing flipping business what I do in my bedroom as long as I'm not hurting somebody else, as long as it's consensual and they are of age.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
And
God.
it's legal,
Yeah, I don't.
you know. But I
Right.
mean, because because we know that the JWs want to try to control every aspect of your life, including who you love, just the same with every other Christian religion. They're, some are more extreme than others, obviously, but the witnesses are on the more extreme side of it. And I remember my dad telling me years ago, we had this brother in the neighboring congregation. He was gay, and they literally had elders giving him training on how to be a straight male.
Because he didn't know.
It was basically the Jehovah's Witness version of conversion therapy.
That's disgusting.
It is.
That's truly, like, that's under duress, trying to force somebody to feel and think a way that they don't.
Right.
Tell him, Crystal. Don't mess with mama. It's time to go to school. Yeah, so this is very sad, but not shocking whatsoever. This is how they truly judge people who aren't the typical or the normalized um, behaviors of like sexuality and gender, right? Like if
Hmm.
you're not straight laced, man fucking a woman, woman fucking a man, something's got to be wrong with you. Something must have happened to you. Oh,
Yeah.
well, we can trace this all back to that one time as a child when you were harmed. It's just so dismissive, and it's obviously not
Oh,
understanding
Morgan,
the differences
what are you doing?
in people, why they feel the way that they feel. It's infuriating and frustrating.
You gonna lock it back up?
Yeah.
Here.
Good morning, Awaken G. Good morning, Dockies. Good to
Come
see
here.
everybody here.
There.
Yes, the new personality, straight laced. Good morning, cutie pie. Oh my God, look at that hair. I love it.
Surprise guest. Good. Say good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Mom.
Look at the computer. Look.
Good
Look,
morning,
You're
Morgan.
on the computer. You're on TV.
You're famous.
See, look.
See,
Any
well,
words to the wise?
What you got to say for yourself, young man? Want to spell something? Spell cat. Say it loud.
I
Camera.
hear him, CAT. Good job.
All right. Go ahead.
Amazing.
what? I'm gonna get to a billion.
He's so cute.
He's going to get to 1 billion.
Oh, all right. He needs to get us to 1 billion followers. So can you
Yes.
like get
Can you
him
get us
working
to 1
on
billion
that?
followers, Morgan?
Come on, Morgan. Help us out here.
He's a million.
Hey, if I can't win it with expert journalism, I'll kill him with cuteness.
Oh, did you study with him, Jonathan? That's just so sad. But I mean, that's typical,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like,
is.
I'm not even sure why you would. I think it's so harmful that you would even start a Bible study with somebody who's gay, knowing your only intention is to change them. And let's
Mhm.
be fair, y'all. I personally would not want to marry somebody like if you were gay, James, but you're turning yourself straight, right? You're reformed. You want to marry me? That's fucking unfair.
Mhm.
So I have to marry you knowing that there's a possibility you're not really as attracted to me as you say, or you don't really love me the way that you say, because in your mind you really would prefer to be with a man or what have you, that's not fair to the other partner as well. People should just be happy and marry who, or date, whatever, who makes them happy. It's so weird to force
Exactly.
people into relationships. I don't,
Yeah,
it's gross.
it is.
The new
You
Mr.
know,
Beast. Yes. Can he please be
yes,
the new Mr. Beast and get us rich and famous?
yes, I would love that.
Come on, Morgan. Come on.
You can do it, Morgan.
You can do it. We believe in you.
All right, let's go ahead and move on then.
Moving along, little doggy.
Want to go on with your next story?
Okay, well, we can go on with my next story. I'm honestly not going to stay on it for too long because it actually really upset me. Like, well, maybe from talking to me, you may know that disability awareness, just treating people like human freaking beings, giving them the dignity they deserve is something that's really important to me now that I've begun to deconstruct from these weird religious ideologies, about perfection and how people should be perfect. People are born how they are born, and we need to meet them where they are and treat them with respect. Well, anyway, this young man is 24 years old, and he had Down syndrome and autism. He was attacked and killed by an IDF dog, and he was left to die. He did die. He was taken into, so basically the IDF had stormed a home and they separated the family away from each other, which is just something they typically do. They separated Muhammad into a separate room, and then they allowed their dogs to attack him. It started to bite his face and bite his chest. His mental capacity is that of like a baby, of like a 3-year-old, so he didn't understand what was happening. It was nonverbal, but during the attack, he was heard saying by his parents as he was screaming. I can't say it in Arabic because I can't speak it, but he basically said, "That's enough, darling. Please, no more." So he was petting the dog as the dog was killing him, biting him, and he was saying, "Please, Habibi, no more. That's enough, darling," because he didn't understand what was happening to him. The family was forced to leave without the son. They kept asking, like, "Where's Muhammad? Where's Muhammad?" And the soldiers kept saying, "Oh, he's gone. He's gone." He was gone. By the time they were allowed to return back to the house, maggots and things of that nature were already.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really sad.
so the sad story, I thought that was important for people to know. And actually, tailing off of that, it's been determined by the Lancet, which is, y'all should trust the Lancet. You might not want to trust Hamas, whatever it is that you don't want to listen to. You should be able to listen to the Lancet. And they have determined that it's about 186,000 Palestinians that have died so far. And it's so difficult to do the death toll because, they're being cut off from the internet. The civil services are being targeted, and any kind of governmental service that would normally be operating is basically being shut down because they're being attacked and the people are being killed. But anyhow, this is super depressing. But yes, 186,000 likely dead. Most of that is women and children. So this is a war against, it is a war against women and children. Heartbreaking. I hope Muhammad I hope their family recovers from this horrible tragedy. My heart is truly with them. No one deserves that, especially somebody who doesn't even have the capacity to understand what's happening to them.
No, agreed. All right. Well, I'm going to move on to the next tragic story here.
Oh boy.
So there's this 14-year-old girl in Queensland, Australia, and her family is from a very small, devout religious group. I don't know if it's a Christian group or not, but they are accused of the group, the religious group as a whole, is accused of killing this 8-year-old girl by withholding medication
Who does that?
from her
What
that
the
she
fuck?
needed to live. And so they try to frame it as religious persecution to the court. Yeah. When
It's fucking murder, bro.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, is it religious persecution? I think you should throw that in there too. But what is it really? It's
And
murder.
so there was the leader of this group that are called the Saints, and there's 14 people that are on trial over the death of this girl. And the medicine that they withheld from her was insulin for her diabetes, and they withheld it from her for 6
That is
days.
so dangerous.
Yes.
Like people are so broke right now in the United States, they're rationing their diabetes medication.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unnormal for this to be happening. I can't believe that someone in their stinking mind would think, let's withhold as a punishment her life-saving medication.
So basically, they just watched this girl slowly die over the course of a week because of this.
Over a week? So she was basically tortured for a week?
Yeah, because she wasn't getting the medication she needed, so her diabetes was obviously going and flaring off the charts, and she was suffering.
She was
And
probably like in a fucking coma or in one of those states where, like, how the insulin, I can't think what it's called, but they can't think straight and they kind of go a little haywire.
so basically after she died, then that's when they called the police.
That's when they called.
Yeah.
I think it's a little late by that point.
Yeah, I know. It's just this is just one of those stories that just there's no words for these kinds of people that allow their child to die when it's something that so simple that could have kept them alive. But no, because they want to believe that it's some religious reasons that she's not allowed to have this medication, that they got to withhold it from her. Like the same goes for the witnesses when they withhold a blood transfusion for children that say have like leukemia or something.
Punishment is withholding a lollipop. Punishment is taking away your TV. Punishment is not allowed to go outside and play with your friends. Punishment is never over fucking medication.
No.
That's not punishment. That's torture.
I don't care how mad I am at my children. I'm not going to let them starve. I'm not going to withhold medications from them. Because I never thought that withholding food from a child was a punishment. That's torture. Let them eat. Let them, have their medications if they need it. Like you said, punishment, taking away TVs, taking away phones, not taking away what's keeping them alive.
I lived in a house one time, and I had no idea how popular this idea was, but I lived in a house one time where, like, they had locks on the refrigerator and the cabinets. So you couldn't just eat. You weren't allowed to just eat. And that's always struck me as weird. And I've met so many people online where food has been a punishment. Now, there's a difference if, like, you get into the cabinet and eat all the snack cakes. Like, okay, you know what? You're not allowed to go over to your friend's house because you ate like a whole goddamn box of snack cakes. Like, kids can be irresponsible. Like, I get that maybe you need to put the cakes somewhere locked away. But access to normal food being withheld from a growing child, that's so fucking creepy. And it happens to so many people and a lot of adopted children. Like, I've made friends with a lot of adoptees, and it seems to be a common thing. What is wrong with you? Why are you even wanting to be a parent? That's so fucking creepy.
Yeah. It is.
I'm sorry, that hurt. That breaks my heart that she didn't have to die. It's horrific. Fun fact, living in a house is very popular.
I'm gonna get to it.
Jonathan.
I'm gonna move.
Yes, it is very popular amongst 98% of people.
I don't know. There's some people who prefer prisons too.
Well, yeah, that's also true. Some people seem to like it there. There's some people who seem to like it there because of their behaviors, but the government doesn't seem to want to put them there. Jehovah's Witness
Yep.
governing body.
He's a builder.
So do you have anything else for us today, or is that?
I do, and I can keep it very quick, actually. So if y'all wouldn't mind, I have a favor to ask of you. If you weren't aware, but the FIFA World Cup series is coming, and on July 20th, which is Saturday, FIFA is going to have a meeting to determine whether or not that they should allow Israel to play. So
Oh,
I'm asking that y'all fill out this. There's a letter that you can fill out. I already did it. But basically, once you fill this out, it will take you to a big letter that lists out all the reasons why we're asking FIFA to exclude Israel propaganda from the game. We tried with the Olympics, but I don't know if that's working out so well. I think people are still protesting. But anyway, there's a possibility we could make some change here. And if they're excluded, that would be huge. So I'm asking everyone to please go to the link. It's in the description. Fill it out. Tweet. I've also tweeted. Please tweet. And don't forget, keep calling your representatives too. I know that they're not taking our calls. A couple of the people I call, it's only messages you can leave because they don't give a F anymore. But don't let it discourage you, because all these little actions do matter. They really do. So yeah, please tweet, fill that out. Thanks.
okay. Very cool. Well, with that being said, then we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show.
Wrap it on up.
Wrap it on up.
That's it, right?
And,
Hold on. I just want to make sure that that's all I had. Oh, I have a question. Sorry, before we go really quickly. I know you're busy. Did we ever talk about the Hawaii case? I can't remember. I thought we did, but I couldn't remember. The Hawaii Jehovah's Witness abuse case.
Don't know. I don't think we did.
Dude, it was a big case. When I was searching for the Montana case, for some reason it came up, and I was like, I don't remember if we went over it or not.
Let's do this. Let's use it as a teaser for next week's show, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, yeah, because it's a lot of money, big case. So yeah, let's go over that next week. Hawaii. I didn't even. I wasn't sure if I just forgot because I'm forgetful, or if we never talked about it. I didn't know which.
I don't know which either, honestly, at this point. But we'll talk about it next week. And if we've talked about it before, oh well.
We'll talk about it again. It's fine.
We'll talk about it again.
It's a recap. Thank you, everybody. Sorry that sometimes we do have to bring you really heavy topics, but them's the breaks. Sometimes we get laughs. Sometimes we have to tell you the truth. But we appreciate you sticking around and listening to our mumbling, grumbling. Anyway.
And with that being said, hope y'all have a wonderful week. We will see you next week and talk about Hawaii and hopefully some other things as well.
Free Hawaii from the
Have a great week, everybody.
imperialist government of America. Free Hawaii. They are occupied, you know. They didn't want to be one of our countries, just like Puerto Rico. We took them. Free Hawaii, free Puerto Rico, free Haiti, free Congo, free Sudan. Love you guys.
Bye.